All right, this is APBC calculus. We're doing the midterm review, and this is multiple choice number 7, which is a non-calculator question. So we're given x squared plus xy equals 10, and we're asked when x equals 2, what is dy dx? So the first thing I really need to do is I need to find an equation for dy dx. So I will point out that in this instance, there's two options. You can either differentiate implicitly, which I think where a lot of us might go on this, or honestly, you could solve this one for y, and it would totally work. Either of these options is fine. So if you went the implicit option, because there's only the one y, right? So you don't have to go the implicit option, but you could. If you go the implicit option, you're going to get 2x, and then this is going to be a product rule. So you're going to get u dv plus v du, which is a 1, and that's going to equal 0. And then I'll solve for dy dx, and I'm going to get x dy dx equals negative 2x minus y over x. Now, sorry, divide by x, so gone. Okay, so this is my dy dx, fine. But then, if you do that, you're probably having the mental argument where you're like, okay, cool, I know that x is 2, but what is y? Well, I could find y by plugging into this original function, right? I can say 2 squared plus 2y equals 10, right? 2y is 8, 10 minus 4, which is 6, y is 3, and then I can go ahead and plug in the values, right? So if I did that, I would get that my dy dx evaluated at the point 2 comma 3 is a negative 4 minus 3 over a 2, or a negative 7 halves, and that's great and totally fine, and it's answer A. There is actually an interesting other option here, though, because since there's only the one y, you could do this explicitly. It really just kind of boils down to what is more work for you, right? You could have xy equals 10 minus x squared. You could make this y equals a 10 over x minus an x squared over x, right? If you differentiate, right, your dy dx is going to be, this is a 10x to the negative first, right? That's 10x to the first. So you would get negative 10x to the negative second, right, minus 1. And so your dy dx would essentially be a negative 10 over x squared minus a 1. And then you could evaluate at the moment when x is 2, right? You'd get negative 10 over 4 minus a 1, which is a negative 5 halves minus a 2 halves, also a negative 7 halves. Really, it's just where you want to put your work. Like, no matter how you do it, this is a problem that requires work. Is it easier for you in this case where implicit is an option and explicit is an option? Which one is easier for you? Do you want the algebra up front, or do you want to go straight into the calc and do the algebra on the back end when you substitute? Either of those would be fine.